Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Chief Meteorologist C.T. Tonklin here along with meteorologist Natalie Noah. While the heat is building across the central and eastern areas of the country, not to mention the prevailing humidity, so we're feeling some very hot heat index values. Out in the western U.S. right now we have a lot of cooler temperatures thanks to some clouds as well as some much needed rain showers. And unfortunately in some spots we've seen so much rain that we're actually dealing with a flash flooding threat. But let's just pick out some temperatures across the U.S. at this hour. And temperatures right now up to 53 degrees in Ely, Nevada, only at 66 in Douglas, Wyoming, as well as Lewistown, Montana. Hobbs, Texas at 70 degrees. And one of the typically hot spots on the weather map every day, Palm Springs, California in the Mojave Desert. And right now we're only at 84 in Palm Springs just because, again, of the prevailing cloud cover that we have at this hour. Now, as you go out into the plains, it is turning out to be a pretty hot day, or a steam bath, if you will, as we're up to 88 in Kirksville, Missouri. Hammond, Louisiana, now up to 90 degrees, 90 also in Versailles, Ohio, 88 in Morrisville, Vermont, where 24 hours ago we had temperatures in Vermont in the 60s. Not the case right now with a warm front that's actually lifting northward into Canada. And the effects of that warm front certainly apparent as temperatures have now bounced up to 86 Fahrenheit in Toronto, Ontario, Montreal, Quebec at 82. And temperatures sharply cooler as you travel across the Canadian prairies at this time, and I'll explain why coming up. But right now we're only at 55 in La Ronge, Saskatchewan, Thompson, Manitoba at 45 Fahrenheit. 52 in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. There are two low-pressure systems at play today, one of which spinning right over Hudson Bay at this time, and the counterclockwise rotation is helping to spool in some very cool air, ultimately coming in from the Arctic Circle. So we flipped on the switch as far as natural air conditioning is concerned. And we have another low pressure system that is entering the province of Quebec. And we have a warm front that has lifted out of the U.S. side now into southern Quebec that has generated some spotty showers and some storms. It is a very cool, but at least a sunny day today into much of Saskatchewan, west across Alberta, and into British Columbia with a high pressure ridge sitting right over the province of Alberta. Now on the U.S. side, there is a low pressure system that is loosely defined, just sitting right over the Four Corners region. That system is grabbing a lot of Pacific moisture in the form of our southwest monsoon, which is just a seasonal reversal of winds. But that humid flow of winds is ultimately churning out, with the aid of that low pressure system, some heavy amounts of rainfall into New Mexico, Colorado, westward into Nevada. And we'll take a closer picture of that rainfall coming up in just a second. And the leading edge of that cooler Canadian air that has already made its way into the northern plains is starting to march its way into the central plains, and we'll see more showers and storms developing along that frontal boundary from Colorado northeast into Wisconsin. Otherwise, a hot and humid day across much of the central and southern plains and the eastern U.S. with a ridge of high pressure centered over the state of Alabama, and the sunshine caused by that high pressure system is actually cooking up that very hot and humid air mass that we have. As we start off into the Canadian Maritimes, strong storms starting to finish up across New Brunswick. We're tracking some isolated showers into southern Quebec. And we're also looking at now the risk of a few strong thunderstorms into some spots of the northeast U.S. with a new severe thunderstorm watch into parts of Pennsylvania and New York. But right now, just more benign showers moving across the lower Michigan Peninsula. And we're also tracking a clump of some showers into Lake Superior. Also, isolated rain showers developing right along that frontal boundary across southern Iowa and southern Nebraska, mainly just south of Interstate 80, and a big swath of rain that stretches from eastern New Mexico into much of Colorado, and then spooling north and northwestward across Wyoming, parts of Nevada, and into Utah. And we're looking at some rainfall ultimately curling itself into northwest Arizona. As far as the Gulf Coast is concerned, spotty showers and storms rolling across southern Texas, and we're also looking at a lot of rainfall heading across the Florida Peninsula from the Atlantic coast at this time. Now, our forecast map heading through this afternoon will be yielding some strong thunderstorms in advance of that first cold front that will be pushing into the northeast U.S., so the possibility of severe weather again from Pennsylvania into New York State and a few areas of New England as we head through this afternoon. Scattered showers will also blossom across Kentucky and Tennessee, even into Arizona, despite that high pressure ridge that is in place across the southeast U.S. Heavy rain will be sliding out of northwest Mexico, moving into New Mexico, parts of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, western Kansas, western Nebraska, much of Colorado, into Wyoming, Utah, and into Nevada. And we'll leave the far northern plains high and dry with a cool day expected across the northern tier of the country and warm and dry conditions along the west coast. Tomorrow's weather setup still identical to that of today in the southwest U.S. as we're still looking at that strong flow of monsoonal winds importing some humid air that will be used as some heavy rain for some thunderstorms into New Mexico, Colorado, and parts of Kansas, also coinciding with that frontal boundary. And we're also looking at scattered storms for much of the northeast U.S. Noticeably cooler weather as we head through your Thursday, thanks to a high pressure ridge dropping into the upper Midwest. And on Thursday, I should say Friday, we'll see that ridge of high pressure helping to clear out the skies across the northeast U.S. and much of the Ohio Valley. We'll still keep the heat across the Gulf Coast. Still scattered showers from Kansas as far west as Nevada, and we're looking at some spotty storms into Florida as well as Georgia and South Carolina. From now through early Friday, 1 to 2, possibly 3 inches of rainfall from West Virginia through Pennsylvania, northeast into New England. We'll see over 3 inches of rainfall into New Mexico and into Colorado that could sustain some of the flash flooding concerns. 1 to 2 inches of rainfall across Nevada and into Utah, with 1 to 3 across far southern Texas and into southern Florida. Just ahead, Mark Oppold is in to give us a check of the markets next on this live edition of the Market Day Report.